Welcome to Deep Dive with Dr. D. The entire goal of this podcast is to help you see that you have it within you to do amazing things. Welcome to Deep Dive with Dr. D. Thanks for joining us. It's a beautiful Sunday morning with typical Ellensburg wind. That's a sign that spring is coming. And I have with me guest Kevin Willette. Excited to have him. And so my quick shameless plug for my book, of course, listen to all the podcasts. We actually, Kevin and I, before we started recording, you are my 22nd guest. And this has been really cool to do. So you can watch on my YouTube channel or listen wherever you listen to podcasts. And then my book is out. Sometimes we talk about my crazy life in a little ways. Grit Over Shame. It's available wherever you buy books. That one is yours, my friend.
Thank you.
So yeah, there we go. I think that's all I need to cover. Yeah, cool. Yeah, you'll enjoy that.
Yeah.
It's a quick read. Most people read it sometimes in one setting. I call it the short story of the wild ride of my life. So enough of that. This one's about you. I'm excited to talk to you. You and I have known each other for 6 years-ish?
Yeah, probably 6 or 7 years we met, I think at EPD when we were doing
the trainings.
Yeah, I met you there.
And that's when you really, not impressed me and but you were, I did a training on substance use disorders and you were one of the first ones that kind of raised your hand and said, yeah, I have some experience in this area. You have family in recovery. Yep. And I just really enjoyed the conversation. And I think I did a ride along with you.
You did.
I did. Yeah.
And every time you see me, especially on your motorcycle, you let me know you're there.
Yeah.
So I know it's you.
Yeah. Nice. And doing the speed limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're, I really like you, and, we follow each other on social media. We talked a little bit before this about family stuff. I know that's important to you. So for our viewers and listeners, tell the world about Kevin Willette.
Well, I am born and raised here in the Valley, born in Ellensburg, raised up in Cleveland. Multiple generation family up here. Yeah. My family started a business way back in the day up in Cleveland, Willett's Towing.
Yeah.
So we've been doing public service type stuff for a long time. My great-great-grandpa was...
How long do you think?
Since 1960, it was a towing company. But before that, my grandpa was working for other people.
Okay.
And volunteer firefighter. And
wow.
So that's the public service aspect's always been kind of
and all mostly Upper County, yeah?
Yeah, mostly Upper County, yeah. But my grandpa did work down here.
Very well known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we kind of were rooted up there. My grandpa worked in the mines. And
wow.
And, so he's one of the last living... elders that worked in the mines back in the day, so he's very prideful on that, and it's cool to talk to him about those.
Boy, yeah, he's got some history. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
He just did that briefly because it was kind of on his tail end. But just raised here. I went to school up in Cleveland. 3-sport athlete, but I really took to wrestling.
Okay, wrestling, and what were the other two?
Football and baseball.
Oh, wide receiver.
I was wide receiver and a cornerback.
Oh yeah,
and I spent my fair share on the bench as well at times.
Sure.
So. But no, I really liked sports and kind of leading. I led the football team as a captain senior year and as a wrestling captain senior year.
Wow.
I kind of got into some school politics type stuff. I was our senior class president. I thought that was interesting. And I didn't really realize how much work that was going to be, but it was. And so after school, I just kind of went into my degree for criminal justice.
Okay.
Got my bachelor's degree for criminal justice and got into wanting to be a cop because I had a brother that, and we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
My older brother, who's my hero, who I absolutely love, has a similar story to you. And I think that's where you and I kind of bonded and kind of resonated over a lot of stuff is over your story of just grit and just bouncing back and just pushing through. But I saw how the criminal justice system and how law enforcement officers in particular can impact somebody's life in a positive manner. And that really sat with me. I was like, I want to be that person. I want to, one, it's a cool job. Yeah. You get to drive fast with your lights on at times. You get to help people. At the end of the day, I do think that it makes a big impact for the community. And that's really what drew me to it originally.
So you went to Central?
No, I didn't go to Central.
Oh, where'd you go?
I went to ITT Tech in
Seattle.
No
way.
But the crazy thing is,
ITT's been around forever.
Well, it had been. I spent all this money to go there, got a degree, and then there was some financial fraud scandal.
Gone. Yeah.
So, they actually... But that was several years after I graduated, So I'm like, but still, I put in the work, got my degree.
You got your degree? Yeah.
So did that, started putting in for law enforcement, and at the time that I was putting in 2010, 11, it was really hard to get a law enforcement job. It was very competitive. There was a lot of veterans coming out of the services and out of combat, and they were getting picked up pretty good because they were professionals. They had lived experience.
Where all were you applying?
Basically everywhere. I mean, I was trying to actually get out of the county. So I wanted to go out and explore some bigger cities and go out and get some more knowledge and kind of work major crime detectives or narcotics was something that I wanted to do. I really wanted to do canine officer. But I ended up, a friend of mine was like, hey, dude, you should apply for the Ellensburg Police Department Reserve Program. And a reserve program is essentially a volunteer position. You still have to do like a 3.5-4 month program. You have to pass everything, all the tests. It's not easy. So once you pass that, if you're able to pass everything, background check, polygraph, physical and stuff like that, and then you pass the actual class, then you can suit up, put the uniform on, and come out and basically be a cop, but for free. You're not paid, you're not compensated in any way, there's no benefits other than getting experience and helping your community.
Get your foot in the door.
Get your foot in the door. Yeah. So I was putting in 8 to 10 hour shifts at my parents' tow company, coming down here and riding 6 to 8 hours when I could, and just repeat. And eventually I got picked up full time with the Ellensburg Police Department because I was putting in a lot of time there. And got that.
When was that?
That was in 2011.
Okay.
So I got picked up there. Yeah. Then I got hired full time, and I've been there full time 14 years.
Wow.
Currently a senior SWAT operator for the Kittitas County Regional Tactical Response Team.
Nice.
And I am our defensive tactics coordinator.
Oh.
I am a patrol supervisor. I'm a corporal right now. So I work on a squad of 3 because we're one of our short squads. But I basically help with supervision on the patrol level. And my goal is to hopefully climb the ranks and continue going.
Nice.
So with that came a desire to continue my education. So I recently finished my master's degree in criminal justice with a concentration on public safety admin.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I got that done. And
do you see yourself as a chief of police someday?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a very specific role that has to tailor there's a lot of politics that go into that, and a lot of, I really enjoy patrol and kind of the nitty gritty of the job right now. But I could see myself going into a sergeant position first, dabbling into captain. Certainly, and if I'm successful there, and if I kind of get my feet underneath me, I think that a chief's position would be great.
So I just wanted to mark this here now when it happens, because I believe that it's going to happen for you. I actually had this thought this morning when I was thinking about you. I want to be one of the first ones you go, yep, David was right. Okay. But I could see you in that role somewhere down the road. I think you're really enjoying what you're doing now, for sure.
I love it. Leadership is great, but it's just it's a different style of law enforcement. You kind of have to remove yourself from the old kind of on the streets, patrolling, responding to calls, going to critical incidents. I mean, you're kind of removing yourself, decentralizing your command, and letting other people do the work for you. Yeah. So right now, I'm really enjoying doing the work and getting the experiences. But yeah, I mean, administration, police chief, maybe even sheriff, throw my name in the hat down the road. Sure. But I mean, there's a lot of good dudes at the sheriff's office too that I think would be great candidates for. So
tell us about your family.
So my family, just blue collar, hard workers. They love, we're hunters. We love to be outdoors. I was raised around motorsports. My dad loves to snowmobile and ride quads, quads now because he's older, but he was a 3-wheeler racer back in the day.
Nice.
Loves his motorcycles. I think you and him would get along well.
Okay.
I know you have an Indian, right?
I do.
He's got a Harley that he polishes every weekend, basically, and sits underneath the cover and rides it every once in a while and stares at it. So
awesome.
Mom is from the California area, moved up here with her family to work at Shoemaker up in Cleveland. Oh, wow. And they actually, my dad and mom met kind of early on in life in 1920 and were friends, and then got married and had me. Yeah. And lucky them. You
and your brother, other siblings?
So my brother was from my mom's first marriage.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's my half-brother. Yeah, cool. But he is my best friend and my hero. And I think if we can get into that later, just of why I kind of took into the law enforcement position and why I think recovery and a desire to basically be patient with people and consistent with people, I think in this job is huge for people's recovery and benefits the community.
Super cool. So married. Kids
Not
are your...
married. I'm
yeah.
getting married. Engaged.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm
okay.
engaged right now, getting married soon.
Cool.
I brought 2 of my own to the relationship.
Okay.
And my fiance brought 2 of her own.
So 4.
Yeah, we have 4.
You guys are busy.
Yeah, 1 more. We'll have a little basketball team. I think we can travel around. Make some money.
Nice.
But yeah, we are definitely busy.
And we were talking a little bit before we started. All the kids are in wrestling, some kind of sport. You guys do a lot of different things.
Non-stop. So we got 3 in wrestling right now, 1 in gymnastics. Our daughter's in gymnastics. She's doing well with that.
Cool.
And, I coach wrestling for the Cleveland Map Miners in the Upper County.
Yeah.
We're 5 to 14 years old.
Busy.
And we have like 57 kids right now. And we had a tournament yesterday. They did extremely well.
Yeah.
We had 25 kids medal at the tournament, which was fantastic.
Wow.
A couple tears, but most everybody won and lost with grace and had a good time. There's a lot of smiles. Parents all had fun. So that's kind of what we're going for right now.
Super cool. Thanks for the intro. And I have to ask, I just had her on a couple episodes ago, Tatum Pine.
Yeah.
You know of her?
I know
the Pine
of her.
family?
I've never actually met her, but
Yeah.
I've heard, so she did some instruction for our club team out at the Glon's shop recently.
Yeah.
And I heard nothing but good things about her.
Her family is deep wrestling. Her brother, who I met her through, he graduated from Central, the Pines. I mean, just like rich history with wrestling, and super cool.
Yeah, I think there's a direct correlation between wrestling families and like just hardworking, just
you have to be
just gritty, down and dirty, awesome people.
Yeah, super cool. Well, thanks for the intro. That's super cool, and I want to share, because you've said it a couple times about your brother, and I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but my older brother will always be my hero. I'm actually excited. He moved to Arizona this last year, so we're going to see him this month. And he's always been there for me. When I was going through my stuff, he was the person always there. And it sounds like you were that person for your older brother. But I think having older brothers, that's a big deal for us, right? That we always look up to them as a guiding post, and even when they struggle, because my brother struggled with life and things along the way, but I think we have that strong common bond. Yeah.
And I think really when I met you and you put on that class at EPD for us, and you were talking about your story and kind of giving your story, and the thing that I liked about you, it was like it wasn't a watered down version.
No.
I like people that are like, hey, here's me, and here's why this happened, and here's how I fixed it.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. But then I was thinking, I was like, well, I have a similar story, and that's kind of why I got into law enforcement, is because I see the good that this position can allow us to do, and the impact it can have. And that's really, when you were telling your story, I was like, man, I resonate with that. So that's why I kind of enjoyed your company and was excited to come on the pod with you. I always say, my relationship with law enforcement for me has actually always been good. Even when I wasn't one, I didn't run from cops, and if I got arrested, it was like, yep, I'm busted, and I would get pulled over and like, yep, you got, and that's just, I'm afraid of, alas. And you might remember this. I remember back of the seat conversations with law enforcement. I remember, I can kind of visualize it now, whether it's an actual memory or perceived, but, cops looking in their rearview mirrors, we're driving to jail going, dude, you can turn this around. And those were impactful for me. You guys are in a position where you can and do help a lot of people. Like, I have friends in this community who are in long-term recovery, who actually, a couple who are like, oh, I'm excited you're going to have Kevin on because you help them. Whether or not they, anyway. So you are in a position, and I know you and many of our officers in the city and county help a lot of people. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things about being from here is I know a lot of people. So a lot of these people that we come in contact with, especially our locals, and that are in active addiction, or they're trying to recover, and they're just having a struggle. When you have that conversation with them, I tend not to take a kid glove approach to it, because I'm like, hey man, like I watched you grow up, or I grew up watching you play sports, or reading your name in the newspaper. You come from a great family. You can do this. I know that you're capable of it, but you got to want it. And a lot of times people start saying, oh, here's the excuses why I can't. You're like, you know that's not true. You're using that as a cop out. And I've actually had people come back to me and be like, hey man, I'm 5 years sober, 10 years sober. And I just want to let you know that your approach or your like your just kind of staying on top of me and keeping me honest and being consistent with me helped me find sobriety. And it's something that I've thought about, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the hugest compliments that,
and that's fuel, right?
That dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Because it's like, you don't know how many people you're actually impacting and helping in this career, because not a lot of them will come back and say it. They might have a really positive thing to say about you or feel about you, but they're never going to tell you that.
Yeah.
But the few that do that, you know, you're like, hey man, I was just doing my job. And then you turn around and this sense of pride and like, just like enjoyment that maybe you made somebody's life better. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So outside of all the cool high speed SWAT and patrol stuff that you get to do, you actually get to impact people on a level that's really personal. And that goes from all the way from kids all the way up to grown adults. So that's really why I got into the job and why I love it.
I was the last training I did, in 2006, I had returned to use and was in a mental health crisis in this town. And I'll never, I couldn't remember at the time, but I was talking about it in the training that, you know, I'll never forget an EPD officer coming into the little place I was living in and getting down on his knees and eye to eye. I get a little emotional, and just being human with me. And Ray Sedano was in there, and he said, that was me. And I'm like, dude, you saved my life. Like, you know, he came in because there was a welfare check. And so I always like to recognize the impact, the positive impact law enforcement, because you guys see the negative all the time, right?
Yeah.
You don't, like you're just saying, you don't always get to hear about people that turn their lives around.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad, not because they're, you know, whatever.
They make their change and
they move on.
Yeah.
So it's I'm good that happens for you.
Yeah. And real quick, Ray is a absolute stud of a police officer. He's a great sergeant, great human. Yeah. And I'm glad to hear that, you know, but he's done stuff for fellow officers and for the community for years. I mean, and it's crazy because every officer has those contacts or has done that for somebody or multiple people in their career and maybe just haven't heard about it. And it's nice when you hear about it, you're just like, okay, that's, I'm doing my job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into a question. Cool. This has been great just with the intro. So as a police officer and a family man, how do you define integrity, and how has that definition for you evolved over the years?
Cool. Well, integrity and I have had a really good relationship in my career. Professionally speaking, integrity has never wavered. I love this job so much that I take it very seriously. We're bound by policies and procedures that we need to adhere to. We learn those right off the bat, and we stick to those, right? I mean, that's kind of our guiding light within our own community and our own police department. Obviously, state law, federal law, following the Constitution, state and federal. Right. That all kind of guides who we can be as police officers. But also there's kind of that moral aspect and that approach to where you kind of put yourself guided, like how you are as a person, into the job and into the uniform. Absolutely. So that's kind of where I've came with my approach to law enforcement is staying within those bounds that I'm lawfully have to, but using those to guide me as the officer that I am. So I think with integrity, it's mostly doing the right thing when no one's looking. And that's when you're taking the witness statements that maybe you didn't necessarily have to, but you're building your case better, or you're getting the information that is probably going to actually make it to where you don't have a, probable cause to arrest somebody, to where you're like, hey, I'm going to keep following up and get the information that the totality, no matter what. Yeah, no matter what. So I don't have a case here to arrest this person based on this information because I went the full gamut and I gathered everything. I mean, at face value, maybe I could have arrested this person with the information that I had from these two people, but then I came over here and I followed up and I did more thorough police work, and I found out, hey, what they were saying wasn't in fact what happened. So I think for integrity, as far as a police officer goes, it is just maintaining the scope of your lawful authority and doing the best job that you can throughout the whole process.
This is perfect and not surprising. Like, this is who you are. Yeah. So how does this translate as a coach for coaching kids?
Yeah. So, I mean, just to be completely transparent,
Please.
I've had times in my life where I've faltered and I've failed myself, my personal integrity, my personal convictions, or my moral code or compass. And those things at that time, I felt like I was like, man, this sucks to be this person, to fail on this level, or to let myself down, or let family or friends down, or to be a person that I necessarily didn't want to be, or that people didn't think that I was capable of being. And I think the best part about life and about being a human is just that you can have that lived experience and you can come back from it. So I've failed enough in my life, Dave, to where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that again. And here's how I'm going to fix it. And here's what I'm going to do to push forward. And wrestling was one of those things that kind of created this foundational hard work and drive to succeed. Because in wrestling itself, I failed so many times. I've gotten pinned by people that I should have beat. I showed up and just didn't wrestle well. I went out on the mat at practice and didn't give it my 100%. And then it showed that weekend at the tournament because maybe I didn't place, or I didn't take first when I should have, or didn't take second or third. It's wrestling's been one of those foundational things that's just kind of taught me resilience and how to keep pushing through hard times. So that's how I use wrestling in my personal life. Is to just kind of have that foundation of hard work and determination to not give up.
Just keep going.
When you have those setbacks, or you start losing in life, or you start making mistakes that you don't normally wouldn't make or shouldn't be making, it's important to call yourself out and be like, why am I failing here? Why am I doing this? And wrestling, if you're not putting in the work and the effort, it's gonna show because you're an individual. And when you get out on that mat, if you were goofing off at practice, or you didn't go to practice, you're not paying attention, you're going through the motions, you're not eating healthy.
You don't have a team to kind of pick you up. It's you and the other guy.
It's going to highlight, and it's going to be there. So for me, wrestling's been kind of that foundational thing. It's like, hey, like, this is on you. And that's, I think, directly correlates to like your personal life and your professional life.
For you as an officer.
For me as an officer and as a human, is like, if I'm not putting in the work on myself, it highlights the day of the match. And so I use wrestling because I started at 5 years old and I went through 12, and then I didn't have a college program that I went to. So I started working on my career goals. But I just use it as this building block of like, hey, when you're down or when you're not doing as good as you could be, you need to work harder. You need to identify the problem. What's going on? Why am I not finding success here? And identify that, stop doing that, make changes, and
learn,
forward.
Grow.
And then all of a sudden people start seeing, oh, he's winning again. He's doing great. And you show up on that tournament, you place in state, you get college offers or whatever it might be. And I tried to push that onto my 5 to 14-year-old is, hey guys, you need to work here. And if you want to be successful here, you have to put in the work. I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you the tools to do it, but nobody can force you but you. And that's kind of what I found in my personal and professional life is
same thing.
Is when you are, when you're wavering and when you're kind of falling off, it's because of you. It's you can point the finger at everybody else, but realistically, if you control yourself and start working, you're gonna bounce back. And that's why I like wrestling. Is it's just does not allow you to slip. Like you have to put in the work. And
so where does this is great. So where does this come from for you? You have this real innate, authentic, deep desire to do well. Where does that come from?
I think I'm driven for success from my family. They were all very humble servants, but they were all successful. And they all just worked their asses off and all the time, nonstop.
What year were you born?
87.
80.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Way back in the day. There was carriages and restaurant. So 87.
67. So, we didn't even have carriages. Go on. Yeah.
So born in 87, raised in the 90s. The 90s rocked. I loved it. It was great. But my family just worked their ass off.
But you had models. Family.
I had family.
Showed hard work, dedication, perseverance.
Yeah, my grandpa and my dad worked nonstop all the time to give us a very fantastic life. We have a lot.
But you're also you're cool. You're a good guy. You're easy to talk to, right?
Yeah.
There are some people who work, and it's like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? The personable, the able to communicate.
I've always been kind of a extroverted type person. Like I just enjoy getting to know people, and I think this job's actually helped me develop that. I've always liked to talk. I've always been a talker. I was the class clown. I actually wish I would have paid more attention in high school, but
also a class leader.
Yeah. But also, I think the gift of gab
Yeah.
of just being able to use humor and talk through things has always been just kind of one of my strong points. But I just think that I really enjoy talking to people and getting to know people. And I actually use humor, and specifically dark humor during really crappy times, to push through stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's times where people are really going through it or having a bad day or I'm on a call. Yeah. And if you can make them laugh, or you can just talk to them,
dude, yes,
or just open them up, like it makes a world of difference.
Yeah. I guess we have that similarity in that my family, I've lived a crazy life, but one thing we always had was humor. And some people would look at the humor and go, why are you laughing at that? But sometimes it can help keep you going.
Yeah.
Right. That someone might look at why you're laughing at this crazy situation, and I'm just like, well, you know what? I'm just trying to get through the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually dealing with some stuff right now, but laughing helps it. Like,
yeah.
And I think that when you bring that into other people's lives, when you're like, hey, I know you're down, or you're obviously having a tough time right now. How can I make this better? Even if it's for a couple minutes.
How can I lift you up?
How can I lift you up a little bit?
Super cool.
Yeah. And I think that, another thing, if we got back to my foundational of how I became kind of the way I am, is like I talked about my brother, and I continue to talk about him because I love him to death, is that he was the straight A student. He was the dude that had the friends. He had the good looking girlfriends through high school.
Gosh.
He was a state champion wrestler. The guy was an absolute beast. He was a stud. Got onto the cross country team. Did well there.
Killed it.
Everything he did, he's good at. And
that's my brother Bob. Same thing. Yeah.
And I was not. Like I was good at stuff. I was decent at stuff. But I really had to work for it.
Yeah.
He's just natural.
Yeah.
So all of my life, I was kind of in that shadow.
You had this bar that was up here.
Yes, this
dude.
And I'm looking at it, and he's just successful and doing well. And I'm like, I want to be like that. I better put in the work.
Yeah.
And so I started doing it, and I found my own successes.
Yeah.
But I really do, from the kind of grit of it, if I'm looking back at it, I really attribute a lot of my success and hard work and kind of how I'm driven to watching him move. And plus, he used to beat the crap out of me when we would be at home a little bit. I mean, he wasn't a bully, but if he wanted to, he would manhandle me. And that, I mean, as a boy or you're growing up, you learn how to be tough when your older brother's strong arming you.
Yeah. So same thing, Bob, my brother Bob. I'm going to send him the link to this when I get it, because he was the star athlete.
Yeah.
He would fucking everything, dude. Like golf, tennis, basketball.
You could
football.
go bowling and he would beat 500
he'd
feet.
be like, I'm acing that.
Yeah.
And I did wrestling. That was the only sport I did, but I had to really work hard at it. Kind of, I was able to get good at it, but same thing. That's really fascinating. We have those similar lines with our brothers. All right. Thank you for sharing all that. Really, this is a good one. Like, we're supposed to be in each other's lives, I think, at some level, because we have so many similarities. So the next question is, from where you sit, and personally, professionally, just overall, what do you think people most misunderstand about addiction and the path to recovery?
So I've dealt with tons of people in addiction, drug overdoses to include. I've saved lives, brought them back. I've watched people die. I've had children die in front of me, or investigated those controlled substance homicides. You run the gamut. I've dealt with it, and I'm not the only one. All of our officers are doing it. But personally speaking, I've seen it. I've seen what addiction does to people. I've seen how families deal with it, and it's a rough go. I think the thing about addiction is people would always be like, addiction is a disease. And back in my earlier, younger, not as educated life, I was like, no, it's a choice. Addiction is a choice.
Yep.
And as you start like really getting into it and dealing with these people on a level to which it's kind of personal, and you're seeing it personally. You're watching people die. Yeah. You're contacting people sitting in their car at 3 a.m, passed out, with a torch in their lap. They're scratching scratch off tickets at the 7-Eleven at 2 a.m, drinking Monsters, and they got a pipe next to them. It's like, you see all this. And I guess that it's just, they're just having a human experience and they're trying to figure some stuff out. And what I've found is that a lot of these people that are going through this, if you really talk to them and you really break it down with them, there's a root of why they're doing this. And a lot of it is, in my professional opinion, is there's some sort of trauma or something that happened in their past that they're self-medicating. And we will never arrest our way out of this problem, in my personal opinion. And I was heavily, and I still am, I still arrest people for drug possession, especially for the drug dealers. But early on, I was arresting a lot of drug users, passing that information on to our detectives so they can go after the dealers, obviously. But I think that a lot of people think that it's just a choice, or that people enjoy using the drugs, or maybe they're just having fun partying. But if you really talk to people and you're able to break them down and be like, hey man, like, why are you doing this? And if they're going to be vulnerable with you, it's going to be like, well, I lost my mother when I was a child, and my dad abused me throughout the entirety of my childhood, and I just never was the same. And using fentanyl pills every day helps me forget, or heals the pain. Or how many times I've had people be like, I was a businessman, I had a family, I had everything that you wanted, but I got in, like, let's say a motorcycle accident. I hurt my back, and I got on pain meds. Well, pain meds went away, and I started getting street stuff so I could self-medicate. And you're like, you're watching this person who, in every sense of the word, was doing successful things. And then all of a sudden they're like, and then I started using pills. I started running out of money. I was missing work. I was missing appointments. I was not with my children as much as I wanted to. And now I'm here.
So you've seen the reality that it affects everyone.
It affects everyone.
It's not just one demographic.
No, it's a huge fallout. And a lot of people are like, oh, these tweakers, they're ruining our town. They're ruining this community. It's like, well, sure. There are some people that are drug addicts that are also going out and breaking in the cars, breaking into houses, committing crimes. There are. And those are the people that were, me personally speaking, that I am interested in intervening with and interdicting and making sure that they don't. Specifically people that are dealing or hauling the drugs, distributing throughout our community. Like, I'm coming for you. And there's multiple hard charging deputies and officers in this community that are coming for you. But for the people that are actually struggling with addiction, that are using for whatever reason it is, there's resources and help out there. And we want to get you there. And it's nothing personal. I don't want to arrest you because you are using drugs. I want you to get sober. But if it takes me arresting you and you getting put in the system to start that process, I don't lose sleep over that. And, my brother, for example, was that case. He ended up getting arrested and ended up going through the drug court here and found success with that and never looked back.
Good for him.
So the criminal justice system does work, but also social services do as well. So, and I think one of the things we really need to focus on is working our criminal justice agencies and our social services, everybody on the same page. And that comes through communication and collaboration and developing programs that actually work and not just feel good.
And on my almost 25-year anniversary of living in this county, I've always, since 2001 on, been impressed. As a more rural county, we've been on the forefront of doing some really cool things. Ed Button in our jail, oh my gosh, doing phenomenal things on, hey, if we've got someone in jail, let's get them some resources to do what you're talking. Let's treat the underlying causes so that we can stop that cycle. Because you are absolutely right. Here you are, longtime law enforcement. I didn't say anything. We are not going to arrest our way out of this problem, right?
Yeah, and it sucks because you'll contact people and they may have just got out of prison or they may have just got out of jail, and then you contact them and maybe they commit another crime or for whatever reason you contact them and they're using again right off the bat. And you talk to them and they're like, I have nobody to come back to. I'm out on the streets.
No place to live, no job, no resources.
And some of that is there's an element to where, like we talked about earlier, you got to want it. Because people come back and they're given options. Some people are. And either they're not taking them or they abuse them or they take them for granted. And then they lose them. And then they're like, well, poor me, woe's me. And it's like, hey, dude, we're trying, but you're not trying. So I guess my main message is that if you want something, you have to go get it. Nobody's going to give it to you. And if you are given an opportunity, you better take care of it and actually use it.
Yeah. And I'm always like, I'm also one guy who's been through treatment a couple times, who's been to lots of counseling. We need to keep providing the resources, but also hold people accountable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And 100%. I do not think that just, I send you to rehab.
One and done. You
come out and fail. Well, Dave, you had your chance. So on with the next.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a process, and there's a lot of I think consistency is key.
Super cool. Good. This segue, let's do this one. I think we've answered a little bit of this, but we'll do it anyway. You've seen some people on some of their worst days. What have those moments taught you about human resilience?
Yeah, I've seen some people on absolutely awful.
This doesn't just have to be drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, no, not at all. No, I've seen
life.
I've seen people on just from losing family members, right in front of their faces to, the drugs and alcohol are a big one. Domestic violence, where you find like key figures of the community. You go to their house and you never knew it, but there was like there's an element of domestic that's been happening for quite some time. Or, you get those pillars of the community or business owners or people that are well respected. And then you find out that their home life and their personal lives are a mess and stuff's are falling through. And so you see kind of the nitty gritty of these people, right? And that goes from...
You peel back the onion.
You peel back the actual onion and what's not on social media.
Yeah.
And you find out that everybody is just living life and trying to figure stuff out. And I've contacted people that are, $1 million, business owners or people that are homeless on the street and everywhere in between. There's people dealing with something. And I think with resilience, I think that the key to that is to just identify what the issue is, what your problem is, or why you're being set back, and put a plan in motion to get there.
Yeah.
And also to be willing to reach out for help.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of proud people that aren't willing to just be like, hey, Dr. D, I'm struggling right now. Would you be able to offer me resources?
Right.
And there's a lot of pride, especially in men that I've seen.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are keeping their problems and their issues quiet. And I think that if we were able to just speak up and call out what's causing the problem, there's resources for whatever that issue is.
And that's one of the reasons not like real specific, but as a male, I speak loudly about my life and my process in hopes to help anyone. But I think a lot of men, we just keep it. I'm okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to burden you with my problems.
Yeah.
I can deal with this myself. And I've ran into that on my own accord of where I'm like, I'm failing right now, but I'm not going to put this on somebody.
Yeah.
But what I found the most success with is finding people that actually care about you and love you and want good for you, and just being like, hey, this is who I am. I'm a mess right now. Can you help me clean this?
Yep.
But as far as resilience goes, I feel that I've watched a lot of people in this community and throughout my job bounce back off of really crappy situations or really bad circumstances. Maybe they left a marriage that was failing or very toxic, or maybe they stopped a gambling addiction, or they stopped drinking or alcohol use, or they've stopped that and they've put a plan in motion.
Yeah. And
then you talk to them a couple years later and they're like, oh yeah, I'm way better, or my marriage is great. We went through counseling, or I got a divorce and have since been happier and doing this, that, or the other. And you see people that actually put a plan in motion and start chipping away at those goals. It's not going to happen in a day, but those people that are willing to put in the work, I've watched kind of bounce back. And I think resiliency is a lot of just maintaining a consistent day-to-day plan of how you're going to be better than the day before.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's, you said a couple things that I agree with. One thing you've talked about, when we make mistakes, I think it's important because I'm a guy, like, the past is the past. You can't do anything about the past. So mostly I think we need to stay out of it. But you said something that I say, that you do need to look and at least evaluate why you made the mistake or why you keep making the mistake, so you can fix it, come up with a plan, and move forward. Right? Yeah. Really good.
No, I think that, I just feel like people that are on their worst days, I feel like you think that everybody's judging you and everybody's going to know you as that forever. And I think that there's a lot of shame that comes with failure.
Yeah.
And and I know that you can resonate with that, but I honestly, I think on a grander scale, kind of the spotlight effect of thinking that everybody's staring at you or thinking that everybody's watching you fail and wishing for that, where realistically there's only a handful of people that are really hating on you and want your downfall, and everybody else is like, come on, David, pull out, let's go. So I think that if you can get past the stigma of being a failure in whatever sense of the word it was, and you're willing to push forward, I think that more people will root for you. Yeah, they're going to root for you, and they're going to forget about your past. A cool thing that I have going on right now, and how the world kind of goes full circle, is in my wrestling program, I have a parent that's helping me coach. His kid's one of my little teammates, and him and I used to deal with him in a criminal justice capacity. I used to chase him around all the time. He's been arrested for felonies. He was big into drugs. Now he's kicking butt. He's doing good for himself. He's making a good living. He's sober. He's a great dad. He helps me with the coaching, and I get along well with him. And to be honest with you, I never think about those times that him and I have dealt with you. I don't care. Yeah. Like, I'm just proud of you for who you are now, and you're a nice dude. And I would even have you over to my house or go hunting or fishing with you. I don't care about people's past as long as they're just moving forward and working.
Yeah. You made me think of something that people have said to me, and I've appreciated, and you're kind of speaking about it with talking about you've met people along the way in all walks of life who've gone through stuff, is that when I've shared my story, a lot of people will say, yeah, you know what, I've made some mistakes myself along the way, but I just didn't get caught or whatever it is. And it's always that common human bond of none of us are perfect. Right? We all screw up. And when we tend to attribute levels of screwing up, I think that's where we get tripped up a little bit. Certainly, I wouldn't want anyone to go through the things I've gone through. I say that to college students on campus, but we're all going to falter, right? We're all going to...
And we all have.
Yeah.
And if it's not out in the air, and if it's not well known, like you're not on the police blotter, you're not on social media, you're not at everybody, the topic of everybody's conversation at the local
dinner table. Yeah.
But everybody that's sitting at that dinner table that's talking has also got stuff going on. And that's what is crazy about life, because you have people that are really, really, really judgmental and that are throwing stones and shade at people. But they also need to look inward and be like, hey, if your stuff ever came out, you probably wouldn't want the same behavior. So let's back it off a little bit. And that's honestly what I try to bring into this job, is when I'm contacting people, whether it be, like the domestic violence situation where, somebody that's in all sense of the word, a pillar of the community, or they're kind of respected in the community, they faltered and something happened. Like, I have a job to do. It's nothing personal between you and I. But you're under arrest for this. However, I'm not judging you about it. I'm not going to go post about it. I'm not going to talk to you, my friends and family about this. This was a decision that you made. Let's work past it professionally, and then it's on to the next. And I just think that a lot of people would benefit from just being like, hearing information about somebody or seeing somebody that's down, and rather than kicking and pointing and laughing, just being like, man, that really sucks. I hope you pull out of it. But I'm going to mind my business over here. Perfect. See ya.
Very good. Okay, we're going to roll into the last question for you, then we're going to go into our closing questions.
Okay.
So in a profession that no one would argue, it carries pressure, scrutiny, and a lot of responsibility, how do you personally stay grounded and centered?
So when I'm not working, I try to stay away from police work and law enforcement and anything that has to do with the job.
Okay.
I limit myself to the amount of law enforcement friends that I have and talk to, just because I don't want to share war stories or talk about work on my time off. I just find hobbies or enjoy hobbies that aren't work related. And I like to do those. I like to hunt. I like to be outdoors. I like to do backcountry type stuff and camp in tents and be dirty and smelly and bloody and all the things that come with hunting. And I like to bring my kids along with me. I enjoy camping. My fiance and I enjoy road trips and going and seeing cool stuff. We spent a couple days up in Banff last year, which is amazing.
Sweet.
Have you ever been there?
No.
It's gorgeous. Okay. Every lake is cool. The people up there are great. The mountains are awesome. Just finding hobbies that I like to do and just kind of go and relieve those stressors, because there's some dark things that officers see. And I think that if you're not out at least getting some of that light that the world actually has, then you're going to succumb to the kind of the evil. But realistically right now, I don't have a lot of time to go out and do stuff or find like different hobbies because I'm too busy being a dad, a fiance, and really coaching, dude.
But those are huge, right?
Those
because
are
when
huge.
you're coaching, you're not copping.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is being called coach. Like when a kid comes up to me, like I'll be at Safeway grabbing some food or whatever, and a kid comes up and says, "Hey, coach," and like pats me on the arm, and I look and it's one of my kids. I'm like, dude, I love it. Or you see him 5 months later and they call you coach. It's like, what a great feeling. And
you'll always be coach.
And I'll always be coach. And I remember my coaches when I was a kid, and there were some great coaches. Yeah. And there were some coaches that, weren't so great, but I still learned something from them. And kind of what I've been taking in is just like learning something from everybody. And especially as a supervisor in law enforcement, kind of picking at positive attributes that you learn from other people, and taking those as your own moving forward in this profession, but also seeing the stuff that maybe you didn't resonate well with, or you think, I wouldn't want somebody else to feel that way when I talk to them like that, or when I handle the situation like that, and to make sure to not have that moving forward. But coaching is rad, and I love it.
So you have really, what I'm hearing, and it makes sense because you really put things into action, is you have true work-life balance. Yeah. When you're at work, you're working. Like you're all in. I have no doubt about that. But when you're not working, you're not working.
I shut it off.
You're all in on your hobbies and your family. Yeah. And has that ever, and because you see the dark stuff, is that ever a struggle with certain situations?
I guess give me an example. Like,
I don't know, you see a murder victim, or you're on shift and you go to a really chaotic domestic violence. Is it ever a struggle to shut that off?
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you see people victimized. I've seen children at scenes where their mother's deceased and they don't recognize what's going on, but you just know that their entire life just changed. And or somebody burning alive in a building, and there's nothing you can do but sit there and try to get fire on scene and try to get them the fire out. There's stuff like that where you see that and you deal with that stuff. It's really heavy. But what I've found success in, Dr. D, is I leave work, I go home and I talk to my significant other about it, and she allows me to kind of share some stories, and then I find healthy ways to cope. Nice. And in my past life, I leaned a little too hard on alcohol to try to cope with some of the stuff that I had seen or done, and it wasn't working. So I cut that way back.
Yeah, good for you.
And so, but I didn't realize that was a coping mechanism until I was like, wait a minute, this is not good. So now what I will do is if I see something bad, like I had a super busy weekend last weekend. Really busy. We had some dynamic cases, some stuff went on, and you just go home, reflect about it. And I like to kind of think what I did good, what I could have done better, and do some takeaways from it. Yeah. And then that way, if something happens in the future, I kind of have a better game plan on how I'm going to address that. But I heavily focused on just developing my children and spending time with them. And I don't want to project depression or, that darkness that this job can bring. So I just focus on being a good dad and just trying to push everything that has happened into my professional pocket and leave it there. And we have access to therapy, and we have access to folks at work that we can talk to if we want to. But I don't utilize them, and the reason is I feel like I have a good support system at home allows me to be just as a sounding board.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
super cool. Good. Okay, we're almost the home stretch. Okay. So here's your opportunity. I know you do this when you're out on the streets or even with coaching, but this if someone's listening to this or watching this on YouTube down the road and they're feeling stuck, whether in life, addiction, or just maybe, because you can speak good to this, I think, no direction. What would you want them to hear from you? What would you want them to glean from what you're about to say?
If you are failing right now in whatever sense of the word, if it's something that you feel like you're failing, or your family's said, hey, you're failing, or your friends are like, hey, you're not doing well right now, I think what I would take away or give for you to take away is that it can get better. And just because no matter what age you are, I've watched people turn their lives around at elevated ages, and you just need to identify the problem and put a plan in motion of how you're going to fix that problem. And I know it's easier said than done, but I think a lot of it is cutting out the people that are negative or toxic in your life and surrounding yourself with a good support group.
Yeah.
But calling out what you're doing wrong and admitting your faults, I think is something that I found worked for me. Just say, this is who I am. This is what's not working. And this is why it isn't working. What can I do to get better? And just know it gets better, because I've had people that have just they just feel like they're failures or they're losers or they're never going to get better. And I've had a person tell me, they're like, I'm a drug addict. It's who I am. It's who I always will be. I'll never be anyone different.
No.
And I disagreed with them. We had a good conversation.
Yeah.
And probably 4 years later at this point, because that was probably 4 years ago, this person's kicking ass.
Nice.
They're sober. Yeah. They are helping others that are in active addiction, and they are making the community better because they decided enough was enough. Yeah. And they're the ones that put that plan in motion. Just don't give up on yourself. We have a short life, and this ride is crazy. Nobody's perfect. And all those people that are shitting on you or making you feel bad or pointing fingers at you or gossiping about you or talking about you, they're insecure about their own little reasons, and just don't listen to them, because you have more to offer, and there's obviously a reason they're insecure and feel a reason to put you down. Yeah. So just don't give up.
This is great. I like how you and I are alike in that, if I have a problem, like I in my life now, I try not to dwell on it much. Like, let's just try to figure it out and move forward. And that's, Katrina and I are like that in our marriage and in our working lives. It's like, okay, it's a problem. Not to be dismissive that you're going to have emotions about it, or you might dwell on it a little bit. But man, if I dwell on it too long,
it's going to eat you.
Yeah. And that's what happens, I think, with a lot of people. And I empathize with that, because I've been in those places where you have maybe this problem here and you don't address that problem. So then comes in another problem, then comes in, and we get in our head and we make it this huge thing. Yeah. Let's break it down, is what I hear you saying. Yeah. Identify it and come up with a solution or solutions and start attacking it.
Yeah. And I think that when we get in our own heads and we start actually like feeling like we're failing, or we just keep doing the same things over and over again, and we can't pull out of that problem. Oof. I think we give up on ourselves. Yes. And when we give up on ourselves, that projects to others. Yes. And it just, it doesn't look well. And I think that if you just trust in yourself and know that you're capable of a lot of amazing things, if you just put it in work, then I think it will always get better. Yeah.
Like, see this? Yes. Like, I lived a life, like when you're talking about, I thought at some points in my life, well, I'm an addict, I'm a drug addict, alcoholic, that's who I am, that's always who. No, screw that. Yeah. That's not my identity. That's not who I'm. A human. We've talked a lot about this. I'm a human. I've tripped, I've fallen, but I can turn this around. Yep. And I'm capable of amazing things. And this talk, I think the last one, my sister gave me that sign on my wall over there that says, he believed he could, so he did. Yeah. It's like, okay, what's next? Yep. And let's start attacking the problem and do good things.
Yep. Let's put a plan in motion.
Yeah. Okay. What's a question you've always wanted to ask me?
Well, so when you were at EPD, you shared a lot about your past and about basically the negatives on how you came up, like, through
chaos.
Yeah, through chaos. But I kind of want to know, what are some things in your early childhood, even in your early adult life, like, that are foundational things that kind of formed you to be a hard worker that you are now, or the man you are now, because you do a lot of really rad stuff, and you have a lot of cool hobbies. Yeah. What are some things that kind of formulated
actually helped me?
Ethic? Yeah, it helped you.
Yeah. So my family, primarily from the Tacoma area, I grew up in restaurants, is what I say. My aunt, my grandma, my mom, even my biological father, they all either managed our own restaurants. So one of my first jobs was a dishwasher in a restaurant. And in that industry, you work blue collar, right? So that's what I grew up in. Even in the chaos, my mom always worked. My mom was a single mom raising 4 of us, and mom always had one job, usually had 2 jobs. While that didn't bode well for us kids who were home alone, she always worked. She always modeled that because she had to. She didn't have a choice. So that was always modeled. And we always had to clean home. Again, you might have came to our house as a police officer on a call and went, this seems odd, because the house would be eerily clean and organized, but there was a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. So she always kept a clean home. So, being organized, clean, and neat. And then for me, the military. I went in the military when I was 17. And that actually helped me significantly. While it didn't help with drinking and there were other stuff, I did learn about working as a team and, freaking folding my clothes right. It's a lot more than that, but that helped me a lot. So I did. And then my brother, Bob, I hope he watches this one. He was my hero. He was my guiding light. And my sisters, I know my older siblings kept me safe in situations where it could have been even worse. So yeah, my family, while it was chaotic, I do come from a family of always worked, always had that strong work ethic. And I always say this about my mom. I know she always wanted a healthy family. Did it ever happen? Not really, but I know she always wanted that. So, and grandparents, I'll close it up. I had grandparents and aunts and uncles who didn't have quite as much chaos as we did. And I think of my grandma Hesselwood and my grandpa Hesselwood, my uncle Gary, who's still alive. Those were kind of beacons of hope for me. So that's where it comes from.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I think my last question for you
Please.
is, who's a leader in your past that you feel kind of shaped who you are, and who's a leader in the present that you feel has an impact on you today?
Great. So Johnny Revelle. He was the stepdad who came into my life. I was 8 or 9 years old. Him and my mom were married until he died. He died at a young age, but he's why I ride motorcycles. He's who my dog's named after. He was the one dad, we had dads of the week, that he actually stuck around and he gave a shit. And he disciplined me in a healthy way and cared about me in a way that was hugely impactful. Hugely. His death was very traumatic for me. He died of cancer at a young age, but to this day. And then today, gosh, there's an individual in the community, Kin File. He's kind of like a father figure to me. While we don't talk quite as much as we used to, he's always been someone I can go to and kind of like you're talking about, have someone to talk to, have someone to share things with. And he's always been someone to challenge me and to encourage me. So yeah, there you go.
Good. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this, dude.
Yeah.
This is great. Can we hug?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This was awesome. Thanks for listening to Deep Dive with Dr. D. You can follow me on my other social media channels by clicking the link in the description.